This is Sylvie Curry from Ramona, California, and I'm listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Start the game! Let's go!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike your match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
And welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. This show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire fun and frivolity show. If you would like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do it all.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at BBQCentralShow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you aren't keeping up with what's happening. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now. Typically, you would have saw him last week yeah, that's right, last week closing out the show, but he was on vacay. It is the first ever full-time barbecue editor anywhere on the face of the earth, and he's my pal and not yours. Daniel Vaughn rejoins the show. So we will get the vacation update, a little bit of a change up as far as how the Vaughn's vacation into 2026. And then we will get on to some more barbecue and grilling related topics. So stay tuned for that. And then 35 past the first hour, first time guest, long time chase, but well worth it, I'm sure, as we will see in only a handful of moments. If you are a fan of YouTube and TV shows, and somebody who's just not afraid to give their opinion as it relates to live fire and food in general, and maybe you already follow him on social or you subscribe to his YouTube channel where he's pumping out great content, Ali Khan of AliKhanEats.com will be joining the show. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And I first saw him on Just Pryle's videos, which I will mention again as we open his segment up. And I became such a fan very quickly, and then very quickly after that, subscribed to any and everything that Ali did. So looking forward to having Ali Khan on the show. Oh, look at this. From Sarasota, Florida, Willis, watching the show. Is there nothing better to do, Willis, in Florida, than tune in to the old YouTube and watch Dad? Well, I'm happy that you're doing it. Maybe you're getting ready. Maybe you tried to go to bed 10 minutes or 15 minutes ago, and you're like, I can't do it. I know. Let's go ahead and put on the Barbecue Central show right to bed. You go ahead. All right. Well, thank you for jumping in and being part of the show tonight, Marley, and hope you're having a great time with Grandma and Pops. And, of course, everybody knows that Grandma and Pops, where'd it go? Did I lose that picture? No. These are my parents right here, of course. As Sam the cooking guy would say, what a handsome-looking couple. It's my dad on the right. So, hope you're enjoying yourself, Willis. Take good care. So that'll bring a close to the first hour, a Daniel Vaughn and Ali Khan. And then we will move to the second hour. It is the fourth Tuesday of a month, and that can mean only one thing. A March visit from the embedded correspondence. Oh, do we have a lot to get to tonight in the second hour. So we will make no haste. We will get right to it as we get into 14 past the second hour. And that's how the show lays out for you here this evening. Again, Daniel Vaughn, Ali Khan, first hour and second hour, all embedded correspondence all the time. Don't forget, you can follow the show on social media, Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, Snapchat, and LinkedIn, all with the handle at BBQ Central Show. And by the way, shame on me. I'm telling you, you can follow me under the impression that you're going to follow me. I'm going to say don't bother because I'm not even updating any. I just don't even care. Screw social. But if you want to, in hopes that I completely hypocrisize myself and get back to posting in earnest, go ahead and give me a follow at those platforms. In any event, we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of the video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, or you can watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show. We do have a new YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests, and it is a would you rather. Gang, would you rather be covered in bees or covered in spiders? And currently 67% of you are saying bees, please. Me, myself, I'm going minority because that's what I do. I'm going spiders. Bees could sting. I'm not saying spiders can't bite. I'm not saying spiders aren't potentially poisonous. But since the question is only high level, most bees that I know sting or bite. Not every spider I know bites or embeds or is poisonous. So I'm going to side with spiders. I mean, equally icky, I guess, from a crawling standpoint. But look, I'm all man, so I'm not worried about it. Some fan feedback from the show last week, and someone who appears to be becoming a regular contributor now 3 weeks in a row. We have Bob in Georgia. No, not Terry in Kentucky.
Terry?
He gets his own drop thanks to a young New York Mets fan from the Jim Rome Show that we were able to apply to this show. But Bob in Georgia writes in, Greg, I have, in fact, cooked lamb chops numerous times on my original pit barrel cooker. Always turn out spectacular, especially when I finish them with my homemade roasted garlic jelly glaze. If I remember right, the pit barrel I have had the corporate phone number on the cooker. But back then, the corporate number was Noah Glanville's cell phone number. I texted with some questions, and none other than Noah himself responded. I now have a PBX along with my original pit barrel cooker. Big fan, but I digress. The chops that I showed pictures of last week and ended up cooking were delicious, juicy, and cooked to perfection, 145 degrees internal. But don't tell my wife, she insists on well done pork. Oh dear. I just tell her the very light pink is smoke. Bob, doesn't your wife know anything about your hobby? Is she not a budding pit mistress? I mean, we all know the rule of thumb, right? Pink on the outside is smoke. Pink on the inside could signify danger depending on what internal temperatures you subscribe to, especially when it comes to pork. Pink on the inside chicken, pink on the inside pork, bring it all day long. And by the way, I'll see your 140 internal finish and down raise you to 140 degrees internal. But that's just me. By the way, the meat on the bone was the best part. My wife works for a VP in the food industry, no names please, and her boss sent them along to me. He also included a pork belly, also outstanding on the pit barrel cooker. I cook it, cool it, cube it, and finish braising in a sauce. Thanks for the call out and not butchering my name. Side note, checking into a campground this past weekend, I verbally gave the clerk my name, Bob Beauclair, and after running my card, she thanked Mr. Beauclair. Drives me as nuts as people who say bones don't add flavor. And speaking about the pronunciation, it's pecan. I live in a pecan grove, so I would say I'm an expert on the nut. I'm leaving it just as I typed it. Love the show. Regards, Bob. Bob, thanks for writing in again. Bob Boisclars, writing in from Georgia. He must be one of them French Georgians. Bob, I feel like you should be from Louisiana or somewhere. Nowlands. The dirty South. Well, I guess Georgia is the dirty South. We can get confirmation of that from an expert of the South, but a former Buckeye, Daniel Vaughn, in just a moment. Before that, how about I remind you that there is no better ceramic grill other than Primo. Yeah, you can talk all you want about all the other ceramic grill options, but there's a reason why the guy that originally started Kamado Joe said, later for this, I'm going to go start something else. It's because he knew when Primo hit the market, they were class leaders. Did you know you can visit the Primo factory in nowhere, Illinois? Maybe it's Missouri. I think it's Missouri now that I'm thinking about it, because I was going to have to fly into St. Louis to get there one time and then drive 3 hours south. Here's the point. They have a kiln at the Primo factory where they have the Primo and then all of the other competing ceramic cookers in the kiln. And then for shits and giggles, they close the kiln down and turn it on. And then once the kiln process is completed, they open the kiln up. And I bet you can't guess which cooker survived the kiln. Primo, you said? Correct. All the other ones melted, cracked, damaged, exploded. Beyond recognition, Primo, quite frankly, is the best ceramic cooker perhaps ever on the face of the earth. We'll probably never see another ceramic grill like it. Maybe never. Only I could make a better ceramic cooker. I choose not to because I have much more important things to consider. These are only sold through dealers, so find one near you. PrimoGrill.com is the place to go. Follow them on Facebook or Instagram. The summer or spring and summer of Primo 2 on deck. Daniel Vaughn is next. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
This segment is proudly sponsored by Fireboard, the innovators behind Fireboard 2, Fireboard Pro, Fireboard Spark, Fireboard Beacon, and the wireless Fireboard Pulse. Experience total control over all devices from anywhere in the world with the Fireboard app. Discover more by visiting fireboard.com or by calling 816-945-2232 today. Helping me open the show tonight, which is not what I usually say when he makes his appearances, and making his first appearance in 2026, is the barbecue editor for Texas Monthly Magazine. You also see him on this show quarterly throughout the year as we talk about things going on in Texas and in the barbecue world and food world in general. Most important thing ever in his life. He is a member of the 2018 inaugural Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Fame class. Daniel Vaughn joins me once more. Daniel, we have a YouTube poll question of the week. It is a would you rather, and it goes like this. Would you rather be covered in bees or spiders?
Spiders.
50%.
Absolutely.
It's 50-50 right now. Before it was bees pulling away, and 3 minutes later it is now 50-50. I'm spiders. I think bees could sting, and I don't want to get stung. And I know spiders could sting or bite or be poisonous. But due to the very vague generalities of this question, I would take the chance that I'm not going to get any of that with spiders and puss out, as you people in Texas would say.
Yeah. Yes, covered in bees, I think, would certainly ensure more than one sting.
Yes.
Covered.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, so fresh off a Vaughn family vacation, and usually
Yes.
Daniel and the family are jumping border and going, as we say in the Cleveland hood, international on that ass. But this time, staying domestic. Why stay within the borders this time?
Well, mainly because my daughter had complained that all of her friends, when asked about her different spring break destinations, it was like, well, Barcelona and Rome and Paris and these different places. Like, can't we just go somewhere like normal, like the Grand Canyon? And I've never been. My wife had never been. Of course, our kids had never been. So we decided, let's make a road trip from Dallas all the way to the south rim of the Grand Canyon National Park.
So straight through, which you probably didn't do because you're getting sightseeing in, and I don't know if that's even possible. What's the straight through time where you're at to the Pacific rim of the Grand Canyon?
It's about 16 hours.
Oof.
So anywhere between 15 and 16 hours.
You could do that if it was just you, right? No problem.
Yes. Yeah. Could have done it if it was just me. We did 9 hours to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and that was quite enough for the four of us.
So what are you taking in sightseeing-wise, stops planned along the way for this certain thing or that certain thing? What are you taking in?
Oh, so you mean besides smoking, stingy, and barbecue in Santa Fe?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. I mean, mainly it's like, all right, we're going to the Grand Canyon. What can we see along the way? Like, I'm a map person. Like, I love to just like zoom in on a Google map and like just scroll down the highway. Like, what sites look interesting? What drives look like, I don't know, trepidatious, a little bit dangerous. Which areas are maybe, we're going to the Grand Canyon, one of the most visited sites anywhere in America. So what are the other places we can go like nearby or on the way that are a little less visited? So one of my favorites was the Moki Dugway, which was, basically it was just this switchback of gravel road going straight up this to the top of this plateau. And my wife and my daughter did not like it at all because they were on the side of the vehicle that could see over the edge. There was no guardrail. My son and I, we loved it. We thought it was a lot of fun. So that's right after the Valley of the Gods there in Arizona. Monument Valley was also a lot of fun where we jumped out on the highway at Forrest Gump Point where Forrest Gump in the movie decides that he is done running. So
is that marked?
It is actually, and it is dangerous. I mean, there are so many people on either side of the road, and it's an active roadway. It's a highway. It's a state highway.
Yeah.
People are jumping out on the road. I mean, people are going out of the road and getting in poses, like laying down on the road, cross-legged on the road. There were some foreign visitors, and they said, "How do you do this? Like, there's cars." I was like, "You just wait for an opening." And instead, she just like jumped out when a car was coming. I was like, "No, they won't stop for you. Just like wait until there are no cars."
Anybody like running till they get to the point and then be like, just start walking away and trying to recreate their own Gump moment?
I didn't see anybody acting anything out.
I would do that.
I didn't see any like Bubba Gump stand-ins talking about shrimp or anything of the sort. Yeah. But in Monument Valley, which John Ford and the director made famous because of his westerns, some of them with John Wayne, you could pay $20 to go get on the back of a horse and point in the same direction that John Ford pointed in a photo.
$20.
$20. Yeah, we did not pay $20. I spent my $20 on Navajo fry bread at the nearby food truck.
Is that good?
It was, yeah. It's
$20?
delicious. Well, I mean, fry
each.
bread, Navajo taco. Yeah. A few things.
All right. Anything else from a sightseeing standpoint or visitation standpoint we would like to know about? I got to be honest. I'm surprised. This just goes to show my complete lack of travel anywhere except the Bahamas. I'm surprised that the places you mentioned are that densely populated with humans.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Grand Canyon is really densely populated. Pretty much everywhere else we went was pretty wide open. Gooseneck State Park in Arizona was really great. The Natural Bridges Park National Monument up in Utah was completely empty. I can tell you the Four Corners Monument, which is controlled by the Navajo, closes at 5 p.m. and like there's a big like gate and barbed wire that closes up. So we did not get to go see that. Jemez in New Mexico, which is north of Albuquerque. That was a beautiful area, and we jumped in some hot springs and went through these Gilman tunnels, these like old rock tunnels, and on a abandoned portion of the highway that the state really lets you know, like, we no longer maintain this. Drive at your own risk.
You drove in those?
Yes, yeah, we drove through the tunnels.
Wow, you are a maniac.
Well, you know, as I tell my kids, it's like squeeze it all out, like see as much as you can. You never know which.
You never know you're going to get trapped in a tunnel.
Well, you never know what's going to be the most memorable part, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe being trapped on a tunnel would certainly be memorable. But you know, going to Antelope Canyon, you know, we spent an hour in Antelope Canyon, and the kids were like, yeah, that's cooler than the Grand Canyon, which we spent like 2 days at. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Any good food that you took in? Like, did you buy a bushel of Hatch green chilies since you were in New Mexico? Did you stop by the Zorro Ranch or anything like that?
Did not stop by the Zorro Ranch.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. Mesa Provisions in Albuquerque. That place was incredible. So James Beard Award nomination this year. And I don't normally go to a restaurant for steak.
Heard that.
You know, I cook a lot of steak at home. But this one served in this like red chili sauce. It was a 16-ounce ribeye. The rub on it must have had some coffee and chili powder, and it was fantastic. Like I loved it. I ate every bite of it, and I don't normally sit down for a 1 pound steak. And yeah, it was gone before I knew it.
You into coffee rubs in general?
No, like everything about it was like something I wouldn't have done to a ribeye. And maybe that's why I really wanted to order it. Like, this is not the way I would have prepared it. So let's see. And it was great. I loved it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate the domestic vacation?
Man, I'd give it a 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I love road trips just because of you can see so much along the way, right? And you know, then on the way back, we got to stop in Vaughn, New Mexico,
where you were born. I don't know if anybody knows that you were born there.
Never been. I had never been to Vaughn, New Mexico, but it was on the map, and I remember as a kid seeing it on the map, like spelled like my last name. And so we had to make a little detour and stop there. Like I had to wake my son up in the back of the vehicle. Like, all right, get out. We're going to go see the Vaughn sign here at like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Everybody get their photo. Here we go. Selfie time. Line up the headlights. Turn on the brights.
What's the best country you've been to?
Italy. Yeah. I mean, between the history and the sights and the people and the food. Yeah. Italy. fantastic.
Worst country you've ever been to?
Worst country. I mean, I guess France. I don't know. I've enjoyed all my trips, so I haven't gone to like a bad country.
Least favorite, I guess. I
guess least favorite. I mean, there's only one country that we got shoved out of the airport by the military, and that was Peru. But that was COVID related.
Oh yeah,
so,
right. I remember that.
Can't really blame Peru for that one. So yeah, I guess Peru is probably the most scarring experience, but we just look back upon that fondly as seasoned travelers now.
Any international plans for next year, or at least sketching out ideas?
No, nothing yet. Yeah.
Open for solicitation?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you go to Seoul, South Korea?
I would go to Seoul, South Korea. Hell yeah. I love Korean food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
All right, so let's talk about something that's very important to anybody that likes barbecue, especially what is the staple potentially of Texas-style barbecue. So that's brisket. And, Robert Moss for years has tongue-in-cheek wrote about brisket jumping the shark. But all of a sudden, prices continue to go up. They don't seem to ever look like they're going to go down again. And price per pound in brisket is... I think table stakes at this point is $40 a pound or something along these lines. And we were always asking the question, like, well, where is it going to get to when people stop buying the brisket? Or when will the purveyor say, hey, it just doesn't make sense for me to put this on the menu, so I'm going to take it off? And where is the discussion in their head going, well, if I do that, is that going to detract for people wanting to come to Vaughn's barbecue shop versus the guy down the street that has brisket? So where we're sitting as we close Q1 of 2026, how do you see the world of brisket right now?
Well, oftentimes when I'm writing stories, you got to wait for things to come in threes before they seem like a trend. And I now know of 3 places that made some major menu changes that take brisket off the menu completely or mostly. Kalachny Barbecue is a little spot in Hallettsville, Texas, and they just decided the second generation came in to take over, and they decided, you know what? This brisket, it's too expensive. We think we do everything else better. Let's just take it off the menu entirely. So they've got pork steaks and pork ribs and chicken and just no brisket. So over in Flatonia, not far from there, Casey Lee's Barbecue, Casey Lee's Family Barbecue. They've decided that tri-tip has just a better return on investment. They lose less of it when they cook it, and then they do brisket, and they just have stopped serving brisket altogether. And then just yesterday, new spring menu came out for Mimsy's Craft Barbecue in Crockett, small town barbecue joint. And they have decided that sliced brisket is only going to be something available on Saturdays. It's a specialty menu item. And I think a lot of that just goes to, it's not so much the cost of brisket. I mean, it is the cost of brisket, but people in the cities, you're going to find enough people willing to pay whatever price you're going to charge for brisket when you go to the barbecue joint. But in these small towns, you can only get up to a certain cost per pound that you're going to charge before people just stop buying it altogether, especially with a limited audience like that. So they're like, well, with what we have to charge for it, we're not going to bother, except on Saturdays, when is the main day that people are going to be traveling in from out of town.
And are they still charging a premium for it on Saturdays?
Oh yeah. Still charging a premium for it for sure.
What's the going rate in Texas for brisket on the average?
I mean, I'm just no longer surprised to see $40 a pound when it shows up. I mean, a lot of places like to hold at $39 or $39.50 or whatever, just to keep it under that 40 number that seems too high. But yeah, when some of these places serving prime, they're spending $7-8 a pound on raw brisket for prime, depending on which specialty program they're purchasing or whatnot. And so Ronnie Killen is an example at Killen's Barbecue in the Houston area. He's got several locations there. He just went ahead and was like, you know what, we're do Snake River Farms Wagyu briskets for every brisket that we cook and sell here. And we're going to have to charge a premium for it. We have to charge a premium for any old other brisket as well, but at least the Snake River Farm stuff has a predictable price that hasn't been shooting up and down, and so they don't have to guess. It's a more reliable price for that Wagyu brisket.
Do you ever see brisket coming back into the mid-20s per pound range?
No, I mean, I don't see it coming back into the mid-20s, and I think, we've talked about this before, where for so long brisket itself was held at a lower price because they could kind of bump up the price on turkey and on pork and a few of those other items, and sort of make up for the not losses, but the very low profit margin for the brisket that they were making. And nowadays, all those other meats have continued to go up, and those aren't coming back down anytime soon. I mean, I do think the price for brisket is going to come down, but with the herd sizes, we're not really going to we're not going to see a meaningful difference, I don't think, until sometime toward the end of this year.
If you look at the top 10 in the most recent Texas Monthly barbecue list, is there any way that any of them would not have brisket on the menu?
I don't think so. I mean, I just, when you have a huge number of customers coming in like they've got, and you also want to meet their expectations, if people are traveling to go to one of the top 10 barbecue joints in the state, chances are they're traveling there to go eat their brisket. And I think the owners know that.
What are you working on story-wise that we should be on the lookout for?
Oh, well, speaking of road trips, on my way back, after I stopped at Evie Mae's Barbecue in Lubbock with the family, we stopped at Thirsty's Beer Barn and Barbecue in Clyde, Texas, which is just east of Abilene, just east of Baird, if you're thinking, if you want a more exact.
Yes.
And I just spoke to the owner here recently, earlier this week, and that would be yesterday. Talked to the owner there about how he opened up this little beer barn and served barbecue out of it, and he's like, about half of his sales are barbecue. But I don't know what it's like up in Cleveland, but where I'm from in Ohio, we had quite a few drive-throughs. Like you'd drive right in, you'd order your beer and your whatever drinks from your car, pay for it out the window, and they'd hand it to you in the window. I don't see a ton of those in Texas.
That's what he's doing?
That's what he's doing. Yeah, he's got beer and wine and barbecue,
great.
Cigarettes, Zin, like whatever vice you need.
Yeah.
Just you literally drive through the store.
Wow.
And it's like, it's a big wide open garage, and it's stocked with beer and wine on either side of you, and whatever cold drinks, and they got hand squeezed lemonade and bulldog fries. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Maybe that's going to be the new trend of 2026, drive-through barbecue.
Yeah. Drive-through barbecue might just be. I mean, it feels, I don't know, it feels like good road trip barbecue, for sure. What else am I working on? Well, I'm going to be going on a couple of road trips here on Thursday and Friday. I'm going to be headed down to Martin's Barbecue, or actually Martin's Place, in Bryan, Texas, which I got to admit, I missed it. I missed their 100-year anniversary, which was last year. They opened in 1925. And so I'm headed to go right about the 101st anniversary of Martin's Place in Bryan, Texas. Nice. Yes.
Talking with Daniel Vaughn. You can find him at tmbbq.com, of course, and you can see him once a quarter right here on the show. Daniel, always appreciate the time, and we'll see you in 3 months.
Yeah, good talking to you.
You too. There he is, Daniel Vaughn right there. Well, domestic traveled Daniel Vaughn, fresh off a trip from the Grand Canyon and wherever Forrest Gump stopped running. He said the name of the place. I don't remember. All right, we got Ali Khan ready to go in the green room. Before we get to that, I will talk to you for the last time about the Big Papa Smokers promo running and ending next week. Competition circuit is already on fire. It's ignited. Get ready to elevate your barbecue game with championship flavor from Big Papa Smokers. Ensure your pantry is stocked with the essentials like the award-winning Sweet Money and the indispensable steak and brisket rub. Dare I mention a rustic desert gold for your veggies and your delicates like your fish. I mean, all the rubs in Big Papa Smokers are great. I use them all the time. They are my favorite line. There's no doubt about it. Don't let the smoke roll without being prepared. Whether you're aiming for a grand champion trophy or just mastering your backyard skills, Big Papa delivers award-winning taste. Get your flavor advantage now at BigPapaSmokers.com. Use promo code REMPE26, REMPE26 at checkout for free shipping. Exclusions apply. Big Papa Smokers, real barbecue, real results. We're back with Ali Khan right after this. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And we thank Daniel Vaughn for joining us last segment. Portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, available in 3 sizes with a host of accessories. Doesn't matter the skill level, from beginner to professional, it's a cooker you got to have in the arsenal. Go to pitbarrelcooker.com and let them know the Barbecue Central Show sent you. My next guest is someone I found while watching videos that featured quarterly guest and Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famer, Jess Pryles. So, as any creep would do, I went onto the internet and stalked and found that my life had been unknowingly empty. Until now. He eats, he has hot takes, he hosts shows, he's into production, and the list goes on. We welcome first-time guest to the show, Ali Khan. Ali, how are you, pal?
Man, I'm honored, flattered, and I really respect the straight-up stock line. Like, let's just get right down to it. We know the era we're in.
Yes, as Daniel Vaughn once said, we are, if nothing but macho and confident on this show, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Before we get going tonight, Ali, we have a YouTube poll question of the week. It is a would you rather, and it sounds something like this. Would you rather be covered in bees or covered in spiders?
Geez. I guess bees. It sounds awful. I'm just so afraid of spiders.
Yes.
I'm just afraid of spiders, even though I saw Wicker Man. Horrible.
56% of the YouTube voting public agreeing with you that they also would rather be covered in bees. I was a spider guy myself, just on the off chance they might not be biting or poisonous or stinging spiders.
Yeah.
So why not? All right, so if we don't mind, first time on the show, we can do just a little basic background on you for the folks who might just be meeting you for the first time or whatever it is.
Sure.
Did you have a different life before being Ali the food guy?
God, I guess I did. I mean, it's so funny. In America, in the modern world, we just judge ourselves on how do you make your money? What do you do, right? But yeah, no, food was a very accidental career path for me. I originally wanted to be an actor, and I was one of the many people who was out there struggling. And randomly, I got an opportunity to write a restaurant guidebook for a magazine. And at the time, Food Network was about 10 years in, and I had friends who had gone to film school, and they were like, dude, you should figure that out. So 10 years later, I ended up on Cooking Channel, which was, it's a lot of that kind of the Hollywood hustle. I mean, I think a big part of food TV is the TV part, right? Some people will say, oh, like I'm a chef and I have a big restaurant. I approached it from the TV part. Way back when I started the journey, I had met Jeff Morrow, who would go on to win Food Network star, and he was in the kitchen for a long time. So we both, I guess, like there was a little bit of destiny involved, but Yeah, I mean, through a little bit of fate and some hustling and, I don't know, just good old fashion patience / time, I ended up on Cooking Channel, which, as I'd find out later, was the apex of cable TV. And that could be a whole other episode, because what I found is a lot of us are simply reeling on both sides of the camera from the reality that reality TV is now a social media convention. So I have been spending my time trying to really push into that and actually escape legacy media. It's actually easy to escape it because it's on fire. But yeah, I'm one of the guys who's like somehow trying to transition from, being on cable TV, food-based TV, to being like what Jess created. Actually, it's really interesting. Like, you see some people who are like very social media first, and it would turn out, enter Mr. Beast story, that's kind of the path for where a lot of stuff is going. Hence Alton Brown launching his show now on YouTube. Phil Rosenthal just announced his show is now, with a lot of help, but it's quite telling, very changing. Yeah, we could really dive into the entertainment part.
According to my pal and best friend, fellow Clevelander, Michael Simon, and his two pals, they just signed some deal with like LG TV for the Chew reboot or whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah. It's actually something I've been following a lot because Michael is working with we work with the same person who produced Burgers, Brews, and Q. I had done a show with them, a tailgate NFL show, and we've just been keeping up, and it's really interesting because so producers are in it, are literally like, what do we do? And between Michael, the IP of the Chew, like, this is a big moment.
Yeah.
Like literally what's happening with the Chew, now Chewed Up, is a huge moment. And everyone's paying attention. So, it's exciting and it's fascinating, and good on Michael for being like, let's just do this ourselves, because it's amazing and it appears to be working, and he's literally pioneering the new business model, I think. So
you might be uniquely qualified to answer this question that I think I was going to ask tonight. With all of what appears to be incredible amount of ways to get on some kind of television or streaming television or whatever it is, versus what you experienced back in the day of Food Network and Cooking Channel and whatever, is it easier to be a TV star these days, or was it easier back then? And I say, or maybe I caveat now in the fact that, is there way more of a dilution of talent because you have so many different outlets?
I would say that it was easier to just be talent before. Now it's easier to control your own destiny. And that's huge. Ultimately, you can look at the example, and I don't know if this is so funny because the last few years have been incredibly challenging. I'm very happy to say it. 2024 was the first year since I broke into TV in 2015 where I didn't do a single television gig, which was like, whoa, this is really happening. Meanwhile, like, YouTubers became brand name, like that, like, like some of the most powerful people in entertainment. Mr. Beast, commands the same kind of level of notoriety and respect as The Rock. They do different things, but it's kind of crazy that one's a creator. Now, one can argue is, the old Hollywood system, you become a producer, maybe you direct, you do other things, but, now out the gate, it's like, and I've been doing this myself, is like, I've gotten better at editing. I design my own thumbnails. Like, these are the new skills you simply have to learn as the whole convention's change. So frankly, gone are the days where it's like, oh yeah, just stick me in my spot. Even like, if you look at Food Network, this has been said for a long time, right? That, people would say it's Guy's network and Bobby's network. And, there's a reason for that. They weren't given that. they draw in the viewers. Like when people say, oh, Food Network's just Guy and Bobby, I'm like, because people watch it. That's why. Yeah. And when you see a lot of competition, it's because people watch it. I mean, it's just what it is. It's just what it is. And even Bobby has started his podcast, Bobby on the Beat. Yeah. And that's very interesting to me. I mean, this is a guy who it was a knockdown drag out, but he got like a $60 million 3-year deal. By the way,
for this podcast?
Was not. No. With Food.
Food Network.
Yeah. But I think that, not to sound doomsday, but I think people are realizing, the writing's on the wall, and you're looking at massive mergers. I mean, so many cable networks will continue to survive with these upcoming mergers remains to be seen. It's really crazy. Like, I will tell you, dude, straight up. Remember in 2017, I don't read the newspaper. I sure don't read the Wall Street Journal. I was in an airport in Birmingham, Alabama, just cruising around during the Cheap Eats days. I walked past the newsstand, and I look at a Wall Street Journal cover. Why, I don't know. And I saw front page, right column. It said Discovery to buy Scripps. And I shat myself. I was like, this is not good. I don't like it. Because I know how I got in. It was simple and it was small. And the bigger it gets, the less you matter. I think that's the God's honest truth. And, but hey, there's new platforms, other opportunities. And it's interesting, I'm like literally crawling with my fingernails, climbing up this mountain to do YouTube, right? And I had one person who commented on me. We have no idea who these people are. And this one person's like, oh, Ali, and not that I'm delusional, but he goes, yeah, you're going to be famous one day. And I'm like, it's so amazing. There's someone who just watches these random videos. And let's be honest too. And even in the peak, I used to tell people, like, there's famous, like, you're in a freaking K-pop band famous. And then there's famous, like, you're in the supermarket and the really big fat guy in the automatic chair is, like, coming up at you. That was my peak of fame. Let's just be clear about this. We're niche. Let's just be real about it, right? But even then, it goes to show you, man, like, you kind of, I would wager we're kind of a similar age. You kind of think that at some point when I was, say, 26, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get on Food Network, the naiveness I had of thinking that the media world was somehow always going to be that. Because you could sit there and say, oh, it takes years, but what will happen years from now? And I'd even say to this, do we know for sure that YouTube will still continue to be the #1 streaming service? We don't know. Technology has a way of changing the whole thing up. So we will see, and we live to fight another day.
So my follow-up to you clawing the mountain of YouTube is, do you regret not having started to claw up it 10 years ago or 12 years ago versus now, where I see... So I have Malcolm Reed is on the show. He's the big YouTube guy of barbecue. I also have Sam the cooking guy on the show once a month. Yeah. He's a big, almost 4 minutes. But what I've noticed...
My son watches all this stuff. It's
he's
amazing.
Great. Wonderful person. So what I've noticed, especially over the last year to 2 years, where I was seeing them gain tens of thousands of followers every month, and you could see them, okay, they're going to get 1 million by this time. They're going to get another 1 million by this time. I don't know if Sam's going to cross 4 million YouTube subscribers in 2026, or if Malcolm Reed is going to cross 2 million in 2026, where it was a foregone conclusion it was going to be 1 by here, it was going to be 2 by here, which would signal to me, somebody's not very smart, that maybe the traction of YouTube, it doesn't have the same stranglehold as it once did, and attention spans continue to wean, so TikTok content and Instagram Reels are more popular.
Yeah, I mean, yes to all of the above. I mean, I think that there are definitely some creators, and I talked to, actually, who's been a great guidance for me with YouTube has been Arnie Segovia, Arnie Tex. His son Dan does a lot of stuff with them, and he literally spot checks my videos all the time. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But to answer your initial question, real talk, Cheap Eats ran until we the pilot aired in 2015, and then we were like going. And when you go, you go. And I was fortunate to knock out 59 apps, like 5 seasons. Yeah. That's, TV talk. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
There's some Food Network shows that are way more than that, but they're also few and far between. But, cut to 2019, and this is when the Discovery purchase had gone into effect, right? And all of a sudden it went from, I went from a 26 episode pickup, which anybody would tell you, even on cooking, is a good one.
Yeah.
To like, we haven't heard anything. This is weird. Things are getting weird. You know what I mean? This is not, I literally went from an apex. Like, I had just done a series for Food Network, and I had my marquee series, whatever. And so it's 2019. Get the call that is going to come. Is going to come because it's every show gets canceled, period, point blank, right? But the truth is, I'm sitting here in this office with my older computer, and I didn't know how to do any of this stuff, man. In the last 2 years, and actually it was collabing with Jess, who told me, you should get on CapCut Pro Desktop. And then she literally was like, you're pretty good at this. The software, the ease of it, the fact that even when I was doing Cheap Eats, dude, the phone camera was nothing compared to now. I have a freaking 12 Pro Max. This thing's 5 years old, but it shoots 4K and it's fine. So a lot of this stuff has actually come along later. If you do the math a little bit, do a timeline, you'll see that things really changed in 2020. So many things kind of happen, like planned, unplanned, technology, pandemic, that, it's like, who'd have thought, but yeah. And then to your other part, I'm sure there is a saturation. I'm sure that ultimately things are never just easier. Like it's just never going to be as simple as like, oh yeah, I'll just keep at it and then I'll eventually get to 100 million. Like, I think that this is obviously pretty competitive, and you have to kind of find ways to keep innovating. And then sometimes you just have to say to this, like, are you making some money? Are you okay? I caught a little bit of you talking to Daniel Vaughn. Like, dude, but beef is so expensive right now. Like, I almost want to do a video because right now I've been tackling what I think is profound, which is the price of fast food. This is actually an interesting opportunity for me to reboot Cheap Eats, not because I can find deals, but because I literally say, is it worth it? Because literally, it's true. Like, you start to get to a point where you're like, I think I'm just making this at home. And there are other elements too, not to disparage the restaurant industry at all, because we've all had to adapt. But I went to one of my GOAT places, a place that I featured on TV. My wife and I went and had a beer, and after from COVID on, they do like the you order off the phone with the QR code,
yep.
And like, I don't want to say I'm royalty there, but they're my homies. You know what I mean? But it happened to be a Friday night, and we just got beers, and we got beer, the beers were served or whatever. We went there, paid, walked out. We barely interacted with anyone. There was no questions. There was no answer. And literally, I'm like, isn't it funny that we tip now regardless? And it's like the service is completely gone. So I kind of asked myself, like, I think it's fair to say too, like, are we at a moment where I'm like, yo, can I be making this at home? You know what I mean? Because it's just not, it's just so expensive now. And it almost feels like, like everything is just turning into like, oh, you go to like a football game and you're like, yeah, dude, it's a football game, whatever. Yeah, the beer was $30. I don't want to live that. I don't want to do that, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's worth it. So it's funny. That's how I kind of looking at content, and literally just I'm flabbergasted how much, basic kind of regular things that we took for granted. We bought them because they were cheap. So that's something that's interested me. And then what's the alternative of it? And then it's kind of funny, but in 23, when the world totally opened back up, we went to Tokyo, and dude, it's just like Bourdain says. You go there and everything changes. Like, after going to First World Tokyo, and at the level they operate, with no gratuity even. Yeah. I know, I feel like I'm like anti-tip all of a sudden, but it does add up.
Yeah.
And US dollars are so strong against the yen. They were very strong in 23. I went again in 25, and it was not as strong, but still strong. But basically, I was like, dude, I can't go back to Austin. It's unacceptable. There's no way, dude. There's like everything's different now.
Could you move to Japan and make it?
Look, have I like done the due diligence to answer that exactly? No. I mean, I think the actual reality is, it's simply not so simple to just jump to another country and go, goody, you know what I mean? I'm here. Yeah. Aren't you stoked? I'm like, no, American. You know what I mean? We have our own issues. So, no, and look, let's be honest, too. Nowhere's perfect. You know, I mean, people can make the argument that Japan's a bit of an ethno state, and there's whole other levels to it. Yeah, I'm looking at this from vacation eyes. But at the same time, you do kind of, once you go out somewhere and go, wait a minute, it can be triple as good and a fifth the price. I'm not, you know what I mean? Do you buy bottled water at the airport, my friend? No, you bring a refillable.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's funny. I'll say this, you know, with cheap. Well, first of all, Cooking Channel is pretty much all reruns. It's been reruns for years, right? Yeah. So will Cheap Eats come back on Cooking Channel? No, but I actually do believe I'm at a epiphany where it's like, it's an actual very interesting time to kind of bring back how one really looks for value in a world where everything's so expensive.
You could own a Saturday night on Tastemade Network in perpetuity, I imagine.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's another platform. You know, it's funny. Tastemade is kind of how I got my start too, because way back in 2012, I got a random job there. And they were like, oh, you should check out our app. And they had an app that was almost like, kind of like a TikTok, but horizontal, not vertical, but for the phone. And it had like, you basically had to fill in the 10, it was like 10, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. That's all you had. So everything had to be a minute, you know. But those videos became like the pitch material when it went to Food Network. So it's kind of funny way back in the day. But yeah, Tastemade. It's so funny though, because even Tastemade aimed to be a digital version of Food Network, but YouTube's just the king of it all, really, you know.
Ollie, this has been an incredible first visit. I've gotten about 3 questions into my text that I thought I was going to do, which means if you'll come back, we can certainly start digging back through there. Plus, I think there's a whole bunch of other things that we can trade ideas, thoughts, and hot takes on. But this has been absolutely well worth the wait for me. Hope it was for you, and let's do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Ali Khan right there. The website, AliKhanEats.com, and you can check them out. A lot of you weighing in on the instant chat. You're like, yeah, the guy from Cheap Eats. So going over like gangbusters. Love it. Next time, we're digging into the fast food reviews. As somebody who is a hamburger guy by trade and have been to not a lot of the ones that he's been to, but I have been luckily doing In-N-Out. We have Five Guys. He ate the Big Arch. That might be a question in the second hour as well. All great stuff. So looking forward to having him on. All right, we got to tidy it up so we can make it out on time. So stick around and we'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Ali Khan for joining us last segment. AliKhanEats.com is the website. Check it out. Connie Rempe weighing in. Ali was a great interview, sharing way more than I was anticipating, which I love. See, this is why I'm a good sales guy, because I'm building immediate rapport. The guard comes down. When I got guests saying, hey, straight talk, I don't usually say this. We're getting somewhere. Love it. Looking forward to having Ali on next. Do I smell a quarterly segment already after one appearance? Maybe. All right. We will revisit the Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week, and the percentages might shock you as we update in the second hour. And of course, we have the embedded correspondence. Stick around, we'll be right back.